Hey guys, haven't posted anything in a while because I didn't really have anything I wanted to share, but this time I do. I have something I want to show you guys that I am going to take to locals tomorrow and have some fun with, play around with. This is a live twin Eldlich deck list based off of Cody Angeloff's list at the LCS. And I've made a couple changes, just considerations for my own card availability. Don't have access to as many copies of Ice Dragon's Prison as I'd like, or Triple Tactics Talents for that matter, or even Forbidden Droplet. Those are tied up in other things. But as for right now, this is something that I'm going to take down to local, see how we do with. So I'm going to share with you guys what I'm going to be playing. So we're going to start with 2 copies of the Golden Lord himself. You really want 2 rather than, say, like 3, because you don't always want to draw Eldlich. You want to have him available with the Scarlet Sanguine Eldlixir. You want to be able to search him off of Cursed Eldland. 3 just seems a little bit too bricky. I don't think you really need 3. What you do need 3 of is that you need 3 of each of the live twins, Li-lia, and of course live twin Ki-sikil. So you really want to have 3 of each of these because they are going to kickstart your plays a lot of times. They form a sort of link to resource loop in which you can pop cards or draw cards, depending on what your needs. If you're going first, you probably want to draw that card. If you're going second, you may need to pop a card, force out your opponent's negates, so that way they leave your Eldlich stuff alone. And so that they are a highly consistent engine. They accomplish what they want to do nearly every time. They'll eat up your opponent's interaction if they want to stop the resource loop, so that way your Eldlich stuff remains mostly unscathed. For hand traps, at least monster-based hand traps, we're going to be running 3 Ash Blossom. And we're going to be trying out 3 Ghost Belle. I haven't been playing Ghost Belle on a lot of my lists in quite a while, so it has been some time since I really played Ghost Belle in a deck. And I do think that Ghost Belle is pretty good this format because of Drytron, because of Virtual War, and all that stuff. So that's kind of our monster package. Now, next up comes the most expensive super rare in the game, Cursed Eldland. Cursed Eldland is a very important card for the deck. It is your Eldritch Searcher. It is a card that is going to allow you to get your golden lands in rotation, so that way you can set up your Eldlixirs, you can keep your graveyard rolling, and build your resources up from there. Next up is 3 Live Twin Home. Live Twin Home is basically the quick play spell that will summon a Live Twin from deck. Now it does a very important thing about Live Twin Home is that it locks you into evil twin monsters in your extra deck. So no nightmare plays when you resolve this card. This is very much you are setting up your resource loop and nothing else. You'll have to wait until the next turn to begin your nightmare plays. Finally, 1 copy of Secret Password. Secret Password is important because it basically gives you a 4th copy of that Quick Play Searcher, or Quick Play Special Summon from deck. It allows you to search out the Quick Play spell very easily. 1 copy of Called by the Grave. Hand traps are very unfortunate in stopping your evil twin plays, your live twin plays. So if we could run 3, we'd run 3. In that sense, we also have an Upstart Goblin, just to make sure we're playing a 39-card deck, so we are seeing what we want to see most of the time. Now we're finally coming into the traps. That is our spell trap lineup, our spell lineup. Now let's talk about traps. Naturally, we're going to have 3 copies of Eldlixir, of Scarlet, Sanguine. Scarlet Sanguine is extraordinarily powerful, but there's also something on it that you do need to consider when playing the deck. It has a little stipulation that you can only summon, special summon zombie monsters the turn that you resolve this effect. which means that it's going to keep you from performing the Evil Twin loop on your opponent's turn. Say they remove Ki-sikil, well, you simply chain Li-lia and summon Ki-sikil right back and draw a card. That's not going to be possible when you use Scarlet Sanguine, so just keep that in mind. We're going to have 3 Conquistador of the Golden Land. Now, assuming that you can end on Unchained Abomination, this card is insane because it turns into 2 destructions. If you do not need to use the quick play spell to get out your live twins, you can simply end on Unchained Abomination. And if you have Conquistador set, then that's going to be an additional destruction, which is very, very disruptive to your opponent's plays. We have now 3 Huaqureo of the Golden Land. Huaqureo is, I mean, it's great. It's a DD Crow. Nothing more needs to be said. It'll kickstart your plays if it's in the grave. Pretty solid card. Now, it seems like Infinite Impermanence is kind of going on the a little bit on the decline as of late. I'm still playing 3 because I think it's a pretty decent hand trap against some decks, but you may want to replace that with Ice Dragon's Prison, Torrential Tribute, something along those lines. Another change that I've made to the list is I've put in Solemn Judgement over Solemn Strike. I do like Strike. I'm going to test out Judgment, see if I like Strike more. I'm going with Judgment because I do like Judgment's flexible life point cost. It simply halves, whereas Strike requires that flat 15, which late game can be a little bit of a problem if you're in a heavy grind game. Finally, we have 2 copies of Needle Sealing. Needle Sealing, if there are 4 or more cards on the, excuse me, if there are 4 or more monsters on the field, you destroy all face-up monsters. Now that's pretty good, considering that you're going to end on at least 2 to 3. You may end on an Eldlich plus the live twins, so that way you can easily meet that condition. Force everything into the grave, and hopefully disrupt your opponent significantly. That's the main deck. Obviously, it's a very trap-based control style deck. So now I want to show off the extra deck. So for the extra, you're definitely going to want to play 3 of each of the Evil Twin Link monsters. You want to play 3 of each. 3 of each ensures that you can outlast your opponent's disruption, that you can play through a lot of their interruption and interaction. Next up, Knightmare Phoenix, Unicorn, Griffin, the 3 main Nightmares for this deck. Phoenix, of course, pops spells. Nightmare shuffles them back. But Griffin has some interesting effects. For one thing, it allows you to recycle a spell or trap, which can be very useful in grinding out your opponent, as it'll allow you to set another Eldritch trap or your Cursed Eldland to use on the next turn. Griffin, if you can set up a co-linked board, Griffin will also lock your opponent out of monster effects unless there's a link arrow pointing to them, which you can set up pretty nicely to lock them out of monster effects in some of the later turns, assuming you live past turn 1, that is. I'm also playing IP Masquerena, Link Spider, which you link off your Eldlich trap monsters, Borrelsword Dragon, Accesscode Talker, and Unchained Abomination. Unchained Abomination is particularly good in the deck because it synergizes really well with Conquistador, as I mentioned earlier. The rest are mostly pretty standard. Borrelsword for game-ending finishes, Accesscode for taking advantage of the variety of link monster attributes that you can play, and popping and clearing your opponent's board, breaking boards. You also play 1 Constellar Pleiades, because your Eldritch trap monsters are level 5. You can overlay them into Pleiades to bounce problematic cards. Unfortunately, it does target, so it will not out-dragoon. So that's our extra. Let's talk about the side. So I pretty much copied Cody's side card for card, but it makes a lot of sense. You have Anti-Spell, Fragrance, because you're not reliant on spells in this deck. You are playing traps. You can lock your opponent out of spells very, very easily with this card. I've sided Torrential Tribute for matchups in which it is a little bit more useful than Needle Sealing. If your opponent's not putting up big boards, but they are putting up important key monsters, Torrential Tribute can be an out to those big boards, to big summons, rather. 3 Cosmic, because Cosmic is one of the best removal tools there is. It just makes sense. We're doing 3 of Nibiru, the Primal Being. On the side, you don't really, you know, this is not the best possible card for the deck. I mean, you don't really want to lose your Evil Twins, but either way, if you're going second, if you know you're going second, that's a good side in. There's also 3 1-ofs. Imperial Order, because again, you're not reliant on spells. Harpy's Feather Duster for when you really need that removal. And Dinowrestler Pankertops, because it is a great going second tool. And that's pretty much the list. I am really excited to take it to locals tomorrow, just to play around with. And I know you might be thinking of Tuesday locals. I don't know if this camera angle is really that much better. I would love to have my camera positioned more like this, but sadly, I'm kind of limited in my equipment. I hope that you enjoyed me talking about this deck, and I'm excited to play it. Let me know if you have any questions or comments, and I'll post the deck list in the description.